Welcome to a new episode of Actors Are Born. Today, we're talking about a man who seems to have been born on a film set, an artist who has turned acting into a life philosophy, an actor whose greatness isn't found in explosive outbursts, but in a quiet intensity, not in flashy transformations, but in a disarming authenticity. We're talking about the dude, the president, the Starman. We are talking about Jeff Bridges. The very title of our podcast, Actors Are Born, seems tailor-made for him. Jeffrey Leon Bridges was born on December 4th, 1949 in Los Angeles, California. And when I say he was born into cinema, I'm not exaggerating. His father was the legendary Lloyd Bridges, star of countless films and the hit TV series Sea Hunt. His mother, Dorothy, was also an actress and a poet. His older brother, Beau, would follow in the same footsteps. The Bridges home was a crossroads of creativity, a place where acting was as natural as breathing. In fact, Jeff made his first uncredited screen appearance at just 4 months old in the 1951 film The Company She Keeps. You could say that before he even learned to walk, he had already learned how to be in front of a camera. But growing up in an acting dynasty can be both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, you have privileged access to a magical world. On the other, you risk living in the shadow of a famous last name. Jeff, however, built his career with extraordinary patience and consistency, revealing an innate, almost instinctive talent from the very beginning. The world truly took notice of him in 1971. At just 22 years old, he was cast by Peter Bogdanovich in The Last Picture Show. He played Dwayne Jackson, a young man trapped in the suffocating boredom of a small Texas town. His performance is so natural, so free of artifice, that it earned him his first Oscar nomination. It isn't the over-the-top energy of a young actor trying to get noticed. It's a restrained melancholy, the distant gaze of someone dreaming of being somewhere else. Right there, in that poignant black and white, you can already see the DNA of the future Jeff Bridges, a zen-like calm that conceals a universe of emotion. The 70s and 80s were a string of roles that cemented his versatility. He worked with the greats. He was a young bank robber alongside Clint Eastwood in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. He was an alien learning to love in John Carpenter's Starman, a role that earned him his second Oscar nomination and showcased his incredible ability to convey wonder and vulnerability through body language alone. He was a video game programmer sucked into his own digital world in the cult classic Tron, and a haunted ex-football player in Against All Odds. What's striking watching these films again is his complete lack of ego. Bridges doesn't just play a character, he seems to inhabit it. He never tries to steal the scene, instead serving the story with a rare generosity. He's the quintessential anti-star, charming without being vain, intense without being theatrical. He's the friend you wish you had, the older brother who gives you advice, the lover who understands you without a word. And this quality has made him one of the most beloved actors among his peers. And then 1998 arrived, and everything changed. Or perhaps everything found its perfect synthesis. The Coen brothers wrote a character inspired by a friend of theirs and offered the part to Jeff Bridges. That character was Jeffrey Lebowski, but everyone knows him as the Dude. The Big Lebowski is a strange film, a rambling, comedic noir that wasn't a huge success on its release. But over time, it became a global cult phenomenon. The Dude isn't a character, he's a state of mind. A holdover from the 60s who faces the chaos of modern life with a bathrobe, a white Russian, and a philosophy summed up in one phrase: The Dude Abides. Bridges doesn't act the part of the dude. He is the dude. His shuffling walk, his mumbled speech, his imperturbable calm in the face of nihilists, kidnappers, and bowling rivals. It all seems to flow from a deep inner truth. It's the role that cemented him as an immortal icon, because in an increasingly frantic and anxious world, deep down, we all wish we could be a little more like the dude. For decades, Jeff Bridges was known as the best actor to have never won an Oscar. Despite nominations for extraordinary films like The Contender or Fearless, where he delivers perhaps his most powerful and harrowing performance, the statuette always seemed to elude him. Until 2010. With Crazy Heart, Bridges brought to the screen the story of Bad Blake, an alcoholic, aging, and washed-up country singer looking for one last shot at redemption. It is a monumental performance. Bridges, who is also an excellent musician, does all his own singing in the film. But more than that, he gives us a portrait of a broken man, with a moving dignity and humanity. There isn't a shred of self-pity. We can almost smell the stale whiskey, feel the dust on his guitars, and carry the weight of his regrets. Finally, the Academy could no longer ignore him. The Oscar arrived, a deeply deserved honor that felt like the perfect tribute to an entire career. But Jeff Bridges didn't stop there. He put on the spurs again for the Coen brothers, inheriting the role made famous by John Wayne in True Grit, and giving us an even grittier and more authentic Rooster Cogburn. And he broke our hearts in Hell or High Water as a wise, weary Texas Ranger on the verge of retirement. But the story of Jeff Bridges isn't confined to the big screen. He's also a talented photographer, famous for the panoramic shots he takes on his film sets with a special Widelux camera. His photos are collected in books that serve as an intimate and fascinating chronicle of his life in cinema. He's a musician, an activist dedicated to ending world hunger. And he's a man who has been married to the same woman, Susan Geeston, since 1977. He met her on a film set and pursued her with his typical bashful persistence. Theirs is one of Hollywood's longest and most solid love stories. In recent years, he has faced his toughest battles. First lymphoma, then a severe case of COVID that brought him close to death. He emerged with the same grace and positive philosophy that define him. He has said these experiences have made life more sweet. So this is Jeff Bridges, an actor who was born inside the world of cinema, but who always knew how to stay true to himself. A craftsman of his trade who built a gallery of unforgettable characters without ever losing his own soul. A man who taught us that sometimes the greatest strength lies in the ability to let things go, to accept the chaos, and to simply abide. Perhaps, after all, our title Actors Are Born isn't entirely correct for him. Jeff Bridges was born an actor, yes, but he became an icon by choosing every single day to simply be an authentic man. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again.